5 of the world's most powerful intelligence agencies just issued a joint warning about AI. Not a think tank. Not a tech blogger. The actual spy agencies of the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, together known as the Five Eyes Alliance, put out a document saying new AI models are creating security threats that we are not prepared for. And here's what almost nobody is talking about. This is the first time in history that all 5 of these agencies have jointly addressed AI as a national security risk. That's not a drill. That's not hype. That's 5 governments looking at the same data and agreeing something has gone seriously wrong. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what the Five Eyes said, which specific AI capabilities they're worried about, how this directly affects the tools you're probably already using, and what you can actually do to protect yourself and stay ahead of this. I'll also reveal something near the end that the mainstream coverage completely missed, something buried in the report that changes how you should think about AI safety entirely. Stay with me. Let's start with some context, because this matters. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance has existed since World War II. These 5 English-speaking nations share raw intelligence with each other, signals, intercepts, human intelligence, cyber threat data, at a level they share with nobody else. When they agree on something publicly, it's because the threat is real, it's significant, and they want it known. Their joint cybersecurity advisory, co-authored by the NSA, CISA, the UK's NCSC, the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, the Australian Signals Directorate, and New Zealand's GCSB, specifically called out that large language models and multimodal AI systems are being actively exploited by malicious actors right now. Not in the future. Right now. They highlighted 3 primary threat vectors. First, AI-enabled social engineering at unprecedented scale. Second, AI-assisted cyber attacks that lower the technical barrier for criminals. Third, data poisoning and model manipulation attacks targeting the AI systems themselves. Let's unpack each one because the details are what make this alarming. Social engineering used to require skill. A phishing email written by a human attacker has tells awkward phrasing, generic greetings, obvious urgency. Security awareness training taught people to spot those. But GPT-4, Claude 3, and similar models can write a spear phishing email that references your actual LinkedIn job title, your company's real recent news, and your manager's name, all scraped from public sources, in about 4 seconds. The Five Eyes report specifically noted that AI now enables hyper-personalized attacks at industrial scale. One attacker can now do what previously required a team. And it's not just email. Voice cloning tools like ElevenLabs and similar platforms, some legitimate, some not, can replicate a person's voice from as little as 3 seconds of audio. The FBI has already documented cases of criminals using AI-generated voice clones to impersonate executives in phone calls, authorizing fraudulent wire transfers. One company lost $243,000 in a single call. The voice was fake. The loss was very real. But here's where it gets interesting, and frankly more unsettling. Pause for a second. Did you know that 74% of cybersecurity professionals in a 2024 ISC2 survey said they had already encountered AI-generated threats in the wild? Not theoretical. Not projected. Already happening. You are living through the first AI arms race in cybersecurity, and most people are completely unaware. Now, the second threat, AI-assisted cyber attacks. This is where the barrier to entry collapses. Writing functional malware used to require years of coding knowledge. Tools like WormGPT, a jailbroken language model specifically trained on malware data, sold on dark web forums, have been documented generating working malicious code on demand. The Five Eyes agencies noted that AI is democratizing offensive cyber capabilities, meaning attackers with minimal skills can now attempt attacks that were previously only within reach of nation-state actors. Think about what that means. Ransomware attacks on hospitals. Infrastructure attacks on power grids. These used to require sophisticated, well-funded groups. The technical floor just dropped through the basement. Quick note, if you're finding this useful, subscribing literally takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps me keep making content like this for free. Now, back to what the Five Eyes actually said. The third threat is the one that gets the least coverage, and honestly it's the most sophisticated: data poisoning and model manipulation. Here's how it works. AI models learn from data. If a malicious actor can inject corrupted or manipulated data into the training pipeline or even just into retrieval systems like RAG-based enterprise tools, they can influence what the model outputs. They can make it subtly wrong. They can make it leak sensitive information. They can make it behave differently for specific users. The Five Eyes specifically warned about attacks on AI systems used in critical infrastructure, energy grids, water treatment, financial systems, where organizations are deploying AI agents to automate decisions. If the model is compromised, the decisions are compromised. And because these systems often operate faster than human review, the damage can scale before anyone notices. This is not science fiction. A 2024 research paper from Google DeepMind and academic collaborators demonstrated successful data poisoning attacks on open-source models that survived standard safety fine-tuning. The backdoor persisted. Now let's talk about something more practical. How does this affect you, specifically? If you use AI tools at work, Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT Enterprise, Gemini for Workspace, you are part of an ecosystem that is actively being targeted. The Five Eyes advisory recommended that organizations deploying AI tools implement what they called robust input validation, meaning checking what goes into an AI system, not just what comes out. Most companies are not doing this. If you use AI assistants that connect to your email, calendar, or documents, and many people do through integrations, prompt injection is a real attack vector. An attacker embeds instructions inside a document or email that your AI assistant then reads and executes. Imagine an AI that reads your inbox and an attacker sends you an email containing hidden text that instructs the AI to forward your recent emails to an external address. This has been demonstrated in research environments against real tools. Microsoft, OpenAI, and Google are all working on mitigations, but mitigations are not solutions. Here's another pattern interrupt worth sitting with: the Five Eyes agencies are not anti-AI. The same report acknowledged that AI is also being used defensively, to detect threats faster, to analyze malware, to spot anomalies in network traffic. This isn't a warning to stop using AI. It's a warning to stop using it naively. And now, the thing I promised you at the start that most coverage missed. Buried in the advisory, past the headline threats, there's a section about what the agencies call model opacity. The concern isn't just that AI can be used by attackers. It's that the organizations deploying AI, including government agencies, banks, hospitals, often do not understand what their AI models are actually doing internally. They can observe inputs and outputs, but the reasoning process is a black box. The Five Eyes are specifically worried that this opacity means vulnerabilities can be exploited in ways that defenders can't detect, because they don't know what normal internal model behavior even looks like. It's like trying to audit a bank's accounting when you can't see the ledger. This is why interpretability research, companies like Anthropic working on mechanistic interpretability, trying to understand what's actually happening inside neural networks, is now being framed as a national security issue. Not just an academic curiosity. An actual security priority. That's a significant shift in how governments view this research. So what do you actually do with all of this? Here are 5 specific, actionable things you can do right now. 1. Enable multi-factor authentication on every account, especially email and any account connected to AI tools. AI-powered phishing is better at stealing credentials now. Removing single-factor access is your first line of defense. 2. Audit your AI integrations. If you use any AI tool that connects to your email, files, or calendar, go into your account settings today and review what permissions it has. Revoke anything you don't actively use. 3. Be skeptical of urgent voice calls. If someone calls claiming to be your boss, your bank, or IT support and asks you to act fast, hang up and call them back on a number you already have. Voice cloning is real and it's being used. If you work in tech or IT, look up CISA's published guidelines on AI security. They're free, they're specific, and they were updated in 2024 directly in response to the Five Eyes findings. 5. Follow what's happening in AI interpretability. When Anthropic or DeepMind publish interpretability research, that research is increasingly relevant to real security, not just theory. Understanding that models can have hidden behaviors is the first step to protecting against it. The Five Eyes didn't publish this warning to scare you. They published it because awareness is the first layer of defense. The threat is real, the tools to address it exist, and now you know more than the vast majority of people who saw this story reduced to a single headline. If this video saved you time or actually taught you something useful, subscribing takes 2 seconds and it means I can keep making these for free every week. Next up, I'm going deep on prompt injection attacks, specifically how they work, which tools are most vulnerable right now, and how to test your own setup. That one drops very soon. One question for the comments: do you trust the AI tools you're currently using at work with sensitive information? Genuinely curious where people land on that. Drop it below, I read every reply.